Wonder if this director will actually stay retired. Who knows? Hey everyone, welcome to the Top 10 list. Welcome to my Top 10 personal favorite Steven Soderbergh movies. Yes, just last week the movie Logan Lucky came out and I did a review of it. I absolutely loved it, and it's Steven Soderbergh. Like, he just came out of retirement. Yes, years ago he retired, but he just came out of nowhere and just directed another movie, which was pretty cool. So you know what? I thought to celebrate Logan Lucky and celebrate Steven Soderbergh, I'm going to do a Top 10 of my personal favorite movies he's directed. Yes, he's directed a lot of great films. He's been doing movies since the 90s, and again, who knows if this guy's gonna retire again, so I might as well get a top 10 list out of it before he retires again. So yeah, let's get to it. Here's my top 10 personal favorite Steven Soderbergh movies. And yeah, before a top 10 list, you gotta have your honorable mentions. My honorable mentions are Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13, Solaris, The Informant, Bubble, The Limey, Chi Part 1, Chi Part 2, and Haywire. All great films, just gonna be the top 10 list, but what did make my top 10 was my number 10. My number 10 is Side Effects. Yes, Side Effects was supposedly the last movie by Steven Soderbergh. Well, one of the last movies, obviously not the last movie, but yeah, this was a very interesting, very edgy, very atmospheric, very dark, and very gray and blah psychological thriller, and really good. Rooney Mara, I think, steals this movie. She is absolutely fantastic in this film. Catherine Zeta-Jones is in this movie as well, with Jude Law, and Channing Tatum in a very small role, but this was a very edgy film, and like, you don't know where this movie was going. How this movie is paced and executed was absolutely stunning. Like, it bleaks with atmosphere. It's very dark, it's very gritty and stuff, and you don't know what is wrong with this lead character and stuff. The more she talks with Jude Law, you're like, is it Jude Law that's crazy, or is she crazy? Like, what is happening and stuff? And yeah, I don't want to spoil this movie. If you haven't seen this movie yet, check it out. It is a really good, really edgy psychological thriller. There's a lot of like slow moments, and some people might find it boring, but honestly, it is very edgy, it's very thrilling, it's really well directed, and yeah, it's just a solid flick. Coming number 9 is Out of Sight. Out of Sight is a great crime, thriller, comedic film. Yeah, very dark comedy. Like, when Steven Soderbergh tackles comedy, it's mostly very dark and very bleak comedy, and it's really good. It's really well done in this movie. Like, the comedy in this movie is pretty darn funny, and yeah, I love the performances. I love Don Cheadle. Don Cheadle is so great in this movie, and I also love Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer Lopez is very hit and miss with me when she does movies, but she's actually pretty good and has decent chemistry with George Clooney, who is the show stealer and is probably the best character, the most interesting character in this film. I love how he's written. He's just such an awesome, very cool character, very compelling character, and a really funny character. And yeah, this is just a great film, very entertaining film, and has a lot of good edginess to it, but also has a lot of great comedy and stuff. And yeah, it's just an all-around awesome film. Coming number 8 is Erin Brockovich. Yes, Erin Brockovich is actually one of his more serious, dramatic films based on a true story about Erin Brockovich herself. Played amazingly by Julia Roberts. Julia Roberts won the Oscar. Very well deserved. I thought she was fantastic in this movie, and she gave an amazing performance, and what she did, and for a girl who was like a lower class girl and stuff, worked for this law firm and stuff, and she looked like one of those low class trashy people, but really she was a very smart, very intelligent, and very determined woman to save these people and stuff, and all this pollution that was happening, it was really messed up, and it's a really well told and very inspirational story, and I thought Julia Roberts was amazing. Steven Soderbergh's direction was really great. I loved Albert Finney in this movie. Aaron Eckhart is in this movie. He's very unrecognizable. He plays this like biker guy, and yeah, it's a really well told story, and it's very heartwarming, very inspirational, and it's a very true story that most people should be watching, and yeah, it's a great film. Coming number 7 is Behind the Candelabra. Yes, Behind the Candelabra was an HBO movie starring Matt Damon and Michael Douglas, and this is about Liberace. Yes, Michael Douglas plays Liberace in this movie, one of the greatest piano players ever, and yeah, he had a lot of controversy with his life and stuff, and basically he fell in love with this man, this very younger man, in his early 20s and stuff, played by Matt Damon. Basically, they live together, they almost sort of marry / adopt, like he adopts Matt Damon, but they're almost in a way married and stuff. They're a couple and stuff, and they like get attached to each other. Liberace almost wants to make him almost like him, be like each other and stuff. But then they get like separated, and then shit gets really messed up and stuff. And yeah, they almost out Liberace about him being homosexual and all that shit. And yeah, you learn a lot about the character of Liberace, because I didn't know much about Liberace, but I learned a lot from his life from this movie, and it was a really well-told movie. Again, very well directed by Steven Soderbergh. Michael Douglas was fantastic in this movie as Liberace. Matt Damon was also very solid, and I love Dan Aykroyd as the lawyer. He was really funny, and yeah, it was just a really well-told story, and you learned a lot about this icon that had a lot of controversy to him, and yeah, it's just a really well-told and very interesting story. Coming number 6 is King of the Hill. Yes, King of the Hill. No, not the cartoon created by Mike Judge. It's a good show. I like that show. But yeah, King of the Hill is a coming-of-age story with Jesse Bradford. This is during the Great Depression and stuff. And yeah, this doesn't actually feel like a Steven Soderbergh movie. The way it's shot, the tone, and the style of the filmmaking, it doesn't feel very Steven Soderbergh. Actually, it feels like a lot of other things, but not Steven Soderbergh. It feels more like a Richard Linklater kind of movie, not a Steven Soderbergh film. But there is some darkness to the movie, but it's actually a more lighthearted Steven Soderbergh movie. And it's actually a very good one. It's a very well-told story, very well-structured story. Jesse Bradford's really good as the young kid in this movie. It tackles a lot of elements about the Great Depression during this era, and it's a really well-done movie. It's got good production design, good cinematography, and it's just an all-around delightful film. Coming number 5 is Traffic. Yes, this movie just screams Steven Soderbergh. Yes, he won the Best Director of the Year at the Academy Awards. Yes, I think this was the same year as Gladiator. I was really rooting for Ridley Scott, though. But yeah, this is still a really good movie. Like, the way this movie is directed was fantastic. So good. And it has all these stories, all these amazing characters played by amazing actors, all intertwining. This movie's basically about drug trafficking and stuff. And basically, one of them is about, like, DEA agents, governments, drug addictors, like Erica Christensen, and her father, Michael Douglas, is trying to get her off drugs and stuff, but he's also a politician, you know, trying to outlaw drugs in, like, where are they, California or some fucking shit, yeah, out of Mexico and stuff. There's also Benicio del Toro, who's a Mexican police officer who gets himself into really crazy shit. Then there's Catherine Zeta-Jones and her husband, who's like one of these big drug lords. And there's Don Cheadle and Louis Gleisman, these police officers trying to take down the drug cartel. There's just a lot of great stories in this movie, and they're all really well done, very well written, very well directed stories. And yeah, Michael Douglas, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Erica Christensen, Topher Grace. Everyone's fantastic in this movie. The show stealer is Benicio del Toro, who won the Academy Award for Supporting Actor. He's amazing in this film, so good. It's actually my second favorite. My favorite performance by Benicio del Toro is still Sicario. He's amazing in that movie. But yeah, this is a very dark, gritty film. Very hard to watch. It's not like a movie you can flip on every week, but it's a damn good film. Coming number 4 is Contagion. Yes, Contagion is a film that I love. A lot of people don't talk about this movie, but I love this film. Out of like movies about like outbreak diseases and stuff, this is one of my favorites. I like the movie Outbreak too. That's a good film too, but I think this is a better story. Just the way it's directed, it feels so real. This movie is so realistic. This feels like what it would be like in real life if a disease like this came out. How people would react, how the government would react, how some people would treat other people and stuff, and it's so good. It's about this disease, basically, and it's all affecting the whole world and stuff, and like almost like 25% of the population is dying from it, but some people have an immunity, but they don't know who has an immunity and stuff, and the movie takes place in all different parts of the world and stuff, and it's so well done. I love all the stories. I love all the performances in this movie. You got Matt Damon, Lawrence Fishburne, Kate Winslet, Marion Cotillard, Jude Law. Everyone's fantastic in this movie, and just an all-around great film. Coming number 3 is the movie Logan Lucky. Yes, Logan Lucky just came out last week, and yeah, I'll leave a link down below to my review. I just did a whole review of it, what are my thoughts and opinions. I went into depth about it and stuff, and yeah, I love this movie. Some people actually thought I steered them wrong with this film. Some people messaged me like, hey, this is actually not that great of a film. It's okay at best. You gave it like a 9.2 out of 10. Like, it's not that good of a film. I disagree. I think this was actually a really fun, really enjoyable movie, very Coen Brothers-esque kind of film. I love a good heist story, and I love how this movie was like a kind of a true story, but also a really good heist comedy film, and with a little bit of a drama to it. And yeah, I loved this movie. I thought Channing Tatum, Adam Driver, Daniel Craig, Katie Holmes, Hilary Swank, just everyone was great in this movie, even Seth MacFarlane. I thought it was really good. I loved the style of the film. I love how it was very Coen Brothers-esque. Felt like a Raising Arizona meets an Ocean's 11. And yeah, I really love this movie. Some people may not have loved it, but I loved it. Coming number 2 is Sex, Lies, and Videotape. Sex, Lies, and Videotape is the directorial debut of Steven Soderbergh, one of the best directorial debuts out there. Again, a movie I won't spoil. It's a very short film. It's like an 88-minute film, and it's basically about, sex and marriage and loyalty and love and relationships, and it's done in a very dark and very brutal way. It's almost kind of like David Lynch-esque. It's really brutal. It's really weird, very odd, at times off-putting, but it's so well done. It's got great style to it. It's very stylistic with its editing and structure and its direction. I love how it's written. I love the performances by everyone. James Spader's in this movie. Andie MacDowell's in this movie. That girl from Pretty Woman, I forget her name, and Peter Gallagher. Everyone's great in this movie. It focuses on these 4 characters in particular. It's just a well done and well-told story, well written, well executed, well directed. The performances are all great, and it centers on these characters, very complex, unlikable and likable sort of characters, very real and very humanistic characters. And yeah, though how the movie unfolds and stuff, it's a very dark and very bleak film, but how the movie is made and how Steven Soderbergh directed this film was really well done, and I think it's a brilliant film. And my number 1 favorite Steven Soderbergh movie is, of course, it's Ocean's 11. Ocean's 11, hands down, it's the most fun, most entertaining, most funniest, most just enjoyable, awesome film he has done. Is it his best? No, I still think Sex, Lies, and Videotape, and even Traffic, even probably Contagion, I think are better made movies, but I just love this personally. It's just so great. The whole ensemble, it's just so great, and I don't even like the original Ocean's 11 movie, so that's how you probably do a remake. Remake an older movie that's not that great and make it something better. I even enjoy the sequels. Ocean's 12 and 13 may not get a lot of, love for a lot of people, but I still enjoy those films. But Ocean's 11 is just so great. It's funny, it's got great action, it's really adventurous, really thrilling, really fun. It's such an enjoyable heist film. I love heist films, and this is definitely one of my favorites. George Clooney, Matt Damon, Brad Pitt, Casey Affleck, Don Cheadle, Andy Garcia, Julia Roberts. Just the cast in this movie is just huge. How these criminals pull off this heist at this casino, it's just such a genius and brilliant plan. The first half of the movie is them planning it, and the second half is them executing it. It's just so well done. How the movie is directed and edited and shot and just acted, and just how it's all laid out is just so brilliant, and I absolutely love this movie. I have a blast every time I watch it, and it's hands down my favorite Steven Soderbergh movie. So yeah, that was my top 10 personal favorite Steven Soderbergh movies. So in the comment section below, please tell me, what are your top 10 personal favorite Steven Soderbergh movies? Comment below, let me know. And as always for this video, please like, subscribe to this channel, and join the dark side.